What's up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here and welcome to a new album review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the latest album from one of my personal favourite groups when it comes to a separate change on style and music, a group called Gorillaz, entitled Cracker Island. This is the 8th studio album in the group's discography, and this is the follow-up to their last album, that album being The Song Machine, formed by very popular rock musician from the 90s and in rock/Britpop history of Damon Albarn from Blur, and as well as the involvement with the animator for Gorillaz' identity, Jamie Hewlett. Gorillaz has been one of my favourites to listen to in terms of finding in various sources of material in this outburst, this creative peak. And one of my favourite albums of all time is actually the debut album, because I love the simplicity of that record as it was finding a newer and futuristic path into growing some creative and interesting paths of music. Critically acclaimed albums like Demon Days, which many cite that album as the group's best album, and as well as one of my favourite albums from Gorillaz of 2010's Plastic Beach. But this is an album that has definitely made a bit of a dividing mixed response. This is a path of music that is so consistent into this synthwave, new wave, poppy arrangement of material. But the more I listen to this album, I think that it has definitely been building something into a better feeling of gravitation and replayable value. And I think this is just as an ambitious album as it really gets. Later albums into different genres of music, like with world music to hip-hop and other experimental ideas, Cracker Island, personally, for me, has become a grower that's probably one of my favourites. Opening track, Cracker Island, featuring Thundercat, who's an extraordinaire by this point, one of my favourite musicians, who also worked by himself as a solo artist, and he also worked with Kendrick Lamar, and one of my favourite jazz musicians at the moment, Kamasi Washington. But nevertheless, a poppy synthesized form of music, effective simple writing, Damon's vocal melody was really good, the beat was delivering in a funky style while the guitars come in along to the drums' rhythm patterns. Thundercat's role was making it very cool as he adds his own fun grooves. This is just as a mellow starting point, but it does make a jumpy fulfillment right from the start. The second track of Oil, featuring Stevie Nicks, who I do cherish, one of my favourites of all time. This is a very strong number on this album because this is just as a smooth transition with the keyboard remaining sounds and goes along in a positive mood, while the strong texture was all over this whole track's composition. Stevie's vocal was awesome to hear when the chorus comes in and makes a feature in this beautiful blend in ambience and the mixing. So this is one track on the album that I pretty much have loved right from the start. The Tired Influencer. This electronic piece was soft, but it makes a comfort at the same time. Other sounds were matching this glorious flow of chord progression and crafting this terrific melody and memorable strength, warm resonation. And the music just draws you in from its whole cool tone on its presence. The next track, Silent Running, featuring Adelaide, is fantastic. One of my favourites on this album as well. Awesome move on, wonderfully big, colourful combination on catchy beats, rhythmic sounds from the guitars and following the synths to whistling. This is a highlight on the album as it creates a joyous, diverse mix, and Adelaide's role was perfect onto this track. It's glorious, prominent structures, and makes this an adventurous piece as it goes along. New Gold, featuring Btw Brown and Tame Impala, is just phenomenal. I think that this is the best song on the album for me. This track features a bright, lovely arrangement on chords, making this more or less like a disco made fruition. Fun to listen to. It's vibing and it's a stunning song with its energy, and the continuation is another strong point. So wonderful, and I do think that this is personally one of my newer, later favourite Gorillaz tracks. Then the track list of the album takes things down once again onto Baby Queen. The structure that was written was good in a laid-back feel, and it smothers things as it's more relaxed and soft, from the ambience to buzzing notes, and paces terrifically. Vocals were so nice as well, gentle when it needs to, and it moves along in this separate feeling the song does make. Tarantula, quite an experimental piece. Keyboards to piano notes, and you can hear more of the bass, which is a great touch. Damon's vocals are more expression driven from his voice, and it's quite a unique form into the music because it is intriguing, kind of like a new wave type of composition, and at the same time it's kind of like a dreamy feeling setting as well. The only song that I am not really keen on this album's track listing is Tarantula. No, it is Tormentor. Greg, I can't believe you made that mistake. I know you're tired, but how can you mess up something simple like that? Good job, me. Featuring the Bad Bunny appearance. This is a different tone on production. The song itself is personally my least favourite, as the structure to me was pretty much underwhelming. Not one of these later tracks where it just has a striking approval, and I never really cared for this one. Skinny Ape, though, however, boosts things right back up. They return into some more of the clean guitars, which is a great idea, but this is more or less like a personal song, I think addressing more of the mental health stages, and I can definitely feel that, because while the music is brilliant with optimistic and happy feels, this has a lot of soul, dramatic choruses, strong verse sections, and the song itself is another memorable highlight on the atmosphere and consistent energy. Very great, excellent number on the record. The last track in terms of the original track listing, Possession featuring Beck. This is easing things to finalize the album in more the balladry, acoustic arrangements, and Beck's vocals with Damon's were just gorgeous. A beautiful combination into the vocal harmonies. There's some more emotion that's been made into this track, just like what Skinny Ape was. But I do think Possession is so sweet to conclude the record. Then we go into some more of the bonus tracks, which I'm not going to go into the different mixes from the tracks I've already talked about. But let's move forward to Captain Chicken featuring Del the Funky. Short piece of music, digging beat and basic writing. It's pretty adrenaline sounding from the change of expression after listening back to Possession. Quirky number, but it's something that, I didn't really, think about it as like one of the stronger cuts. Del's performance was cool as well, but I think the last two tracks in terms of the more original bonus tracks, Controller featuring MC Bin Laden. This one takes me back into this Plastic Beach vibe. I love the fast energy from MC Bin's feature. It is amazing. The tone was excellent, and it's a pretty versatile track onto this admirable force of talent, and this is another favourite for me on the album. Crocodillas featuring De La Soul and Dawn Penn. This is pretty much this classic rapping hip-hop direction. The form onto the track was awesome, and it creatively makes this contrast, banging quality, and I wish that this could have been on the original track listing, because this is terrific. Another standout moment from the whole source of what this album is. So I think that Controller and Crocodillas could have been added into the original track listing on the album. It would have been a higher favourite for me in terms of the whole discography of Gorillaz. This album, Cracker Island, to me is a really, really good, pretty strong album. Say what you say about Cracker Island. As I said, there are many different mixed responses from people along the way when it was released, but I say give this a chance. It's nothing like Demon Days. It's nothing like Plastic Beach or Song Machine. Damon Albarn, with his own progression and unique ideas into his mind of what he decides to write home about, makes Gorillaz always one of my favourite groups to listen to in how diverse and changeable each album decides to show to any audience. And I think Cracker Island, to me, is a really good idea for that way of the whole band's existence. I'm going to give Cracker Island by Gorillaz an 8 out of 10. Let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.